Well, Darren, nice to meet you. Thanks for giving us some time this afternoon, and a big welcome to Woking.
No, thank you very much. It's really it's been a really good day, really positive day. Lots of energy and excitement around the club and the staff, and they've been excellent. Meeting and spending some time with John again and all the other backroom teams that help make this club run, and I've been very impressed, really impressed.
Good. What was the attraction of this specific job to you in the first place?
Well, I got quite excited by the plan and the journey that John and Drew and the board want to go on. That's what excited me, and I've been working in professional football 2 decades now, and I wanted a project, I wanted a journey, I wanted something that was going to tell a story at the end of it, and this was perfect. And again, it's whenever I go in and work at clubs, it's all about the people in the club that make the club what it is. And I was just really invigorated, energised by what I heard, and I'm guessing the initial connection and rapport that we built up in the early stages. So I'm really looking forward to it, and it's probably the first time in my 20 years where I've got this type of project and journey to go on, and I can't wait to get that started.
Sure. What sort of process has been involved in you actually ending up being appointed?
No, like a lot of jobs now, and a lot of the work that's done is through representation. And my representatives came to me with this, and it moved very quickly. Some brief discussions, and we were really on the same sort of wavelength from the start. So this didn't take too long, and I just felt that I think when it's right. And like I said, I've been in the game now quite a long time, and I know what looks right and smells wrong. And this just looked right straight from the start. So. Really quick process, some good early discussions, some good chats around what the future looks like to them, what the club looks like to them in 2 years' time, and I was on board very quickly, and really looking forward to getting that going as quickly as possible.
So the club side, if you like, made it fairly clear what they wanted. Did you have any sort of expectations or requests or demands even?
Absolutely, I'm quite a diva. No, it's look, I want to challenge, and I want to win things, and I want to create memories and something for the supporters of the football club to look back on. And I think what sounded like they're going to give me the materials in order to try and achieve that. And I think that's really important, especially when you're going on a journey. It's not going to happen quickly. This club is not going to do a short-term, explosive campaign for winning divisions, but it's the infrastructure that will lay underneath that hopefully drives professionalism on the pitch. They're obviously a little bit further forward off the pitch in terms of their processes, and it's just driving that professionalism now to create that foundation for the club to keep moving. And because of my experience and because of the roles that I've had, in the game, John and Drew felt that that sort of knowledge base and that expertise would serve this football club well. And again, they're the bits that excite me. They want to draw upon my experience, and hopefully we can drive the football side of the business, a little bit further.
Sure. I've actually got written down, are you pleased to get the job? I think you've pretty fairly covered that actually, so we'll leave that one. Can I take you back in time? What part of the country are you from?
Well, I grew up in Letchworth, just outside of Stevenage in Hertfordshire, hence my connection with Stevenage, and I've moved all over the country.
Yeah.
I worked at Rotherham for a year and lived in Sheffield. We lived in several different parts of London with Brentford. I'm currently in the southwest, and then I'll be back into Bedfordshire, which is the family home. Right. So I've been around and about. You
did have a bit of a playing career, but it wasn't all that many years, was it?
No.
What sort of player were you?
I was a very destructive, archaic midfield player.
A dog of war.
Yeah, something like that. That's why my nose doesn't sit quite symmetrically now in the middle of my head. But no, look, playing to me very suddenly became my second love. I was very young when I got my A licence. I was the youngest one at the time in the country. This is 16, 17 years ago now. And literally walked out of Lillishore with that qualification at 22 and thought I need to try and create some sort of USP in the market where I've not got a massive playing background, haven't got a name in football, so I'm going to give all my time and energy now to coaching, and by the time I get to what should have been my retirement age of 35, hopefully I've got a decade of experience, practice, observations, analysis, all of the parts that go into being a football coach. And that really worked on my 33rd birthday. I took my first manager's job. So I had to do something different. I was never gonna bust down a door with a playing career. And the way I playing was painful. So it wasn't too tough a decision when I kind of stepped over that line.
Right. And now, as a manager at this level, are you a very hands-on coach?
Yeah, look, coaching's my trade. Coaching is the one thing. I think everyone starts at coaching. Everyone. I don't think anyone starts out as a manager. I don't believe that. They start out taking practices and training sessions. But some coaches then take that leap into management, and you learn on the job, like we all have to. And you get to a certain point, and I've done a good couple of 100 games now, where you have to then move into management or coaching, and I think you're seen as one or the other. So I've probably, in the last, I would say 2 years, made that kind of significant leap into football management. But coaching's my trade, player development, improving players, working with teams, creating a team and creating identities within teams. That's my real passion.
So up at Tolworth, you will be conducting sessions and drills and all the rest of it?
Yeah, I'm a coach.
Right.
And, my teams, they normally reflect my character. I think all teams reflect the leader's character. And so I have to impart that character and try and deliver that character and that sort of playing style, principles of play on a daily basis. So that's definitely where my energy and enthusiasm comes from.
So you've coached in different roles at different clubs, from Premier League to League Two.
Yes.
What sort of things have you learnt about coaching from doing all those different jobs?
Well,
it's hard.
It's very hard, and good players make it a lot easier.
Yeah.
But it's like any sort of mentoring or coaching or teaching role. That's all about connection. And it's all about the connection you can have between the coach or the teacher and the student or the player. And I think that's what you have to do. And I'm very comfortable being uncomfortable. So I'm very comfortable having awkward conversations and trying to dig deeper into playing performances, form, all of those things. I'll do anything to get a player to his best. And we all know different people take different messages and different styles of teaching and coaching very differently. So the interesting thing about football management is trying to work out which one fits that individual and trying to maximise their potential through that. So I think you learn, especially when I've worked with Premier League players, top players, coaching does become easier, but that connection process is still the same. And I like working with anyone. I like working with people. I like working out what their strengths are. I like maximising their strengths. Very rarely does my coaching style ever address weakness or weaknesses. I don't believe in it. I think it's a very negative format to have. So I'm all about what people can do, trying to pick up on what their really sort of unique selling points are and just making them better. And if anyone was really looking into my background and record, probably the first thing you'd notice is the amount of players I've developed and sold. So I think at the heart of everything, I think that's probably my core attention day in, day out is improving players.
Right, interesting. I would always, in this scenario, ask what sort of team and playing style and so on we can expect from a new manager. But the club's press release about your appointment says that they were very excited by your aggressive playing style. So can you sort of expand on that a little bit?
No, I think the common denominator with all my teams is its work ethic and its energy. I think that's probably what people will relate to my work, especially defensively. And I very much enjoy that side of the game. And it's become, obviously, in the last 2 or 3 years, with the influx of especially the coaches from Germany, pressing has become a huge part of the model of the game. Playing out the back has almost resided somewhat, and the defensive element of football has become a little bit more to the forefront. And the top teams, no matter what the era, what the generation, what the level, the top teams are the best defensive teams. They concede the least goals, and that goes back hundreds of years, you know. So I think that style of play was something that I wanted to demonstrate when speaking to John and Drew, and I think I did that. I didn't know that was the statement, but it was interesting that kind of element came across.
Yeah. So you would firmly back the what I suppose is now a cliche that offences win games, defences win championships.
Well, I think that's always been the case. There are so many examples of that, so many examples every year, and you know, looking at the current sort of structure, really is that the back four this year back three has never really been consistent in terms of selection, not in terms of performance, but in terms of these players are playing week in, week out, and they're a settled defensive organisation, and you always bear, you know, a lot of fruit from that consistency. So I think the quote is relevant to every year in football. I think the best teams are the teams that, you know, pretty much keep the most clean sheets.
What are your specific, if you have any, aims and objectives from now to the end of the season?
A lot of it's going to be assessment and observation in all parts. You know, like I said, John and Drew, have been very outward in that they want to use the benefit of my experience. So looking at every department of the club, only on the technical, on the playing side, but the staffing structure, the playing structure, and the way it's been recruited, and then preparation for next year. Really interesting to see which players are going to be the players that respond to my style. Some won't, that's always the case. But sometimes out of nowhere, some do, that you never expected. And you get this wonderful harmony and synergy between coach and player, and that can unlock maybe something that's not been there. But I think the biggest thing is the assessment of the squad, and then the recruitment in the summer will be defining.
Yeah. Are you a believer in leaving recruitment for a little while pending release of players from Football League clubs? You like to get in early?
Yeah.
Right.
You just, the market of I call it trading. I use the term trading a lot, but the market of the recruitment area, you can't predict when it's going to be at its best or its worst. You have to be ready to act. So I think the decision-making process is all about being ready, and when that certain player opportunity strikes, you've got to be ready to act. I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to wait for something else if I know that there's someone that's going to benefit this football club. My job is, my duty is to the organisation and to the dressing room, and when the organisation and the dressing room, demand wins from their manager, I have to do the right thing by both those parts of the football club. So it's all about being ready. I've always very much enjoyed trading and the recruitment side of it, but that's because I'm normally well prepared and ready to act when the time comes.
Right. And the press releases, I think I'm right in saying, made it clear that Ian Dye will be staying on. Yes. Did you know Ian at all, really?
No. Every club I've worked at, I've had different teams. I like working with different people. I don't think I was very clear with John and Drew that how do I know whether Ian and I are right to work together until we work together? And what right do I have as first of all, a father and a husband to take maybe another father or husband's job away from them without even giving it a chance. So, and again, they're exciting parts of the job. Exciting parts of the job are meeting new people, meeting the new departments of the football club, meeting the journalists that surround the football club. All of these things I find quite energising. So I'm looking forward to getting to know Ian, and I'm open-minded about all of the infrastructure that works in tandem with the playing team, and we'll see how things go.
Okay. Getting towards the end now, one of the things that this club is genuinely famous and well respected for is its community outreach and engagement. Is that something that will be important to you? Well,
look, the community is our support, isn't it?
Sure.
First and foremost. So the whole support structure of the football club comes from the community, and when it walks through the door on a Saturday or a Tuesday night. So, of course, one of my first jobs was head of a community department. So I understand the role, I understand how difficult it is for a football club to run a successful community department without the backing of the manager and the first team, because really we're the figureheads and the face of the organisation. So, of course, I came out of a community, a college programme that trained every day, just like we have here. And I was able to create, through those programmes, a pathway for me to have so far a life in football coaching. So in any way that I can help, advise, guide, demonstrate to the young people of the town and the community that there's such an unbelievable opportunity out there for them if they're ready to work hard enough, then absolutely we'll be very hands-on and very committed to helping them.
Fantastic. And finally, again, the press release once more, you described Woking Football Club as one of the last great non-league institutions.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of us who've been around at the club for quite a while, in various capacities or as supporters, would thoroughly applaud that statement and agree with it. What exactly does it mean, though? Let's be clear.
It means I'm a very clever man. What it means is this. Whenever I've come to Woking, there's a feel about the place, and there's a warmth and an energy, and you don't get that from new grounds necessarily, or clubs that have done use short-term methods in order to accelerate success. This is a club that's worn. It's got character, it's got scars, it's got achievements, it's got great days, bad days. And when you mix all of those emotions and all of those memories and history into one pot, you get an institution. And there's very few that have a connection with the community like this club has. And we lose touch in football with reality and what really is important. And what really is important are the supporters. They're the most important thing. So, everyone knows about the success this football club had in the sort of the top echelons of non-league football. My duty now is to try and create more of those memories by bridging a gap, and the gap, as we know in this division, is getting bigger and bigger each year. But my challenge, my objective is to try and bring Woking back into touch with that type of hierarchy.
Fantastic answer. So I thoroughly applaud the definition of Woking as you've described it, and I recognise it entirely from what you've said. So it only remains for me to, on behalf of all Woking supporters, to wish you absolutely massive success, because that's what we all want as supporters of the club, and all the very best going forward.
No, thank you. Thank you very much. Top man.